Hello, 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 good people, and welcome to Happy, Healthy, Whole with Sharia. I am Sharia Farmer, and I am the host. I'm excited to have you join me again for another opportunity to talk healing and self-love as a priority through the lens of Black women. And so today I'm talking or continuing our series on navigating society, building Black women's self-esteem. And so last week we tackled a little bit about addressing societal, just really a little bit about societal pressures that we have as Black women. And this week we're going to actually talk about intersectionality and empowerment, just so that we can kind of really get a hold on that before we talk about what to do when it comes to confronting stereotypes and societal pressures and all those great things that sometimes are out of our control, but we still have to navigate. Or most times, how about all the time? Well, internalized racism is out of our control. Anyway, sometimes out of our control, but most times out of our control. And so today I'm going to talk intersectionality and empowerment when it comes to that. But before we get started with that, we are actually going to talk about to heal or not to heal, which is a segment that works or deals with an affirmation and or a mindset moment. This gives us an opportunity really to kind of just go over a way to structure an affirmation in the area that the conversation about today, and or to give us a mindset moment in the area that we're going to work on today. And so I'm going to start off with, I am the person I am meant to become. I am the person I was meant to become. I love the person that I am becoming. I feel confident that I am a person that has so much to give and is meant to be who I am and where I am. The direction of my life is it's sometimes bumpy, but I am very fortunate and very confident in that I am blessed in many ways. My values are fully aligned with my choices and or are connected with my choices related to values. And that shows up in my interactions with self and others. I truly trust that I can make decisions and healthy decisions that support who I am, why I am, and the comfort that I also provide for others. Living by these values allow me to be my best self, allow me to accept myself, and it also allows me to empower myself in the passion in areas that I love and adore about who I am, but who I want to impact. Each day I am living in joy, healing in joy, and my destiny is to be able to nurture that part of me and ensure that I continue joy in my legacy of individual but collective healing. Trying to think of all the areas I said I would hit. I am proud of myself in ways that are about shining and being examples to others that have dreams, but also have identities that look like mine, and or other identities that are not always represented in mine, but are accepted by me. And I believe in that all of us should have that related to who we are and what we can offer to the world. So I hope that I inspire people to know that the affirmation, oh my goodness, I forgot the affirmation. I am the person, I am the person I was meant to become, which means I am exactly who I am supposed to be as I am. And there's no wrong in my identity. It is who I am. And I hope that that is the same for you as we talk today about intersectionality. Some reflection questions in this. In what ways have I become the person I was meant to be? In what ways am I being dishonest with myself? What can I really be more honest about related to my identity? And what further changes would I like to make in order to stay true to my beliefs and my values around my identity? So again, that is our affirmation, our hit to heal or not to heal moment of the day. But remember that if you are interested in kind of interacting with me, use the hashtag healing in joy. That's IN, not AND. So healing in joy. This allows me to check in once a week to see if there's some interaction and some questions or things that you might mention, or that if you read something I said sparked or resonated with you, just giving you the opportunity to really use that hashtag to interact with me and hopefully for us as a community to interact with each other. So what is going on today in our topic? Our topic today is intersectionality and empowering and empowerment, I should say. I use both terms used often, and sometimes both terms misunderstood. But the first thing I want to say is when we're exploring the intersectionality of identities involved, please recognize and understand that there are complex interplaying factors in various aspects of an individual's identity, such as gender, race, sexuality, class, and so much more. And so it's important that we learn to embrace every aspect of who we are, how we show up, and what intersectionalities can be a powerful source of your empowerment. So being able to recognize and be aware of who you are can only impact and increase your ability to navigate your self-esteem around these areas. So remember, all of these topics that we talk about are related to kind of building your self-esteem or reestablishing or maintaining your self-esteem. So the first thing you want to do, and I just kind of mentioned it, was be aware and recognize the multifacets of identity. When we think about our identities, the first thing that we mention sometimes is our race or our gender, but there's so many other factors and so many other things that make us who we are. Our experience, I always say things like trauma, our experience, things like navigating poverty, homelessness or houselessness, being able to know that identities have been built based off of your experience in this world. So intersectionality just basically acknowledges that individuals are not defined by a single aspect that of their identity. Instead, people exist in so many different facets, and in those intersections are multiple identities, each contributing to unique lived experience, right? So my lived experience as a Black woman is different than someone who may have a lived experience as a Black lesbian woman, or in my case, it might be a Black heterosexual versus a Black bisexual woman, right? Being able to navigate and understand that there's layers. But then when we think about that, we might say a Black woman who lived or grew up impoverished, a Black woman who grew up in upper to middle class, a Black woman who was sexually assaulted, a Black woman who was in a domestic violence relationship. All of these intersectionalities are identity factors that impact how I have to then navigate the world moving forward. And I think that's extremely important for us to kind of know and empathize with, because all of us still have factors that are seen and unseen about us that make us have to even navigate being Black women differently. So someone who might be from Black American, someone might be Jamaican American, someone might be Jamaican, someone might be Bahamian or Bahamian American, right? Someone might be layers of different identities that might be about ethnicity, culture, sexual orientation, gender, right? So you may be a transgender Black woman. All of those things are intersectionalities that make up our experience as a Black woman. And so we want to validate our different diverse experiences. We don't need to compete or feel shame about our identities. We need to acknowledge and validate those identities as our diverse experiences create how we're going to have to navigate each other, the world, and just the things that are trying to oppress us from different angles. And so I think this is extremely important with our self-esteem, is that we don't compare. We don't need to compare in order to feel strength in our individual identities. We need to accept the layers of different identities, then indicating that there is experiences that are based off of that identity that we may not even have. We may not have any of those experiences, but we can still empathize with in a way that shows love and support, because that form of oppression you may never experience just based off of the intersect of their different identities. There's regional identities. I just can go on and on about the different layers. And so foster a self-acceptance as well as community acceptance, that all of us do not have to have the exact same identity around how we show up as Black women, right? I talked a little bit quickly about colorism. There's a video that I did on colorism in the past, but being able to navigate as a Black lighter skinned woman versus a Black darker skinned woman is totally different. Whether you accept it or not is not my bag to carry, but that is the truth. And as a result, I need empathy to be able to navigate and accept that my sister's experience is going to be different than mine. And so when empathy is needed for me to handle or support her, as a lighter skinned sister, then I'm going to show up for her. So that way she knows that that form of oppression, although I don't have or won't have, still doesn't make it okay and acceptable. Right. So being able to look at how can we foster that self-acceptance and support and empathize with other identities that may not even be within our own. Right. Empowering our thoughts around representation and visibility. So understanding that it's important for us to, in our intersectionalities, accept that we might be the opportunity to help bring in other intersex that may not get into that door or get to the table. And as a result, as a Black woman, I want to bring that voice to the table so that way stereotypes, discrimination, and behaviors that cause death are not even possible, right? And so I'm going to show up in a way that says, I may come in with this layer of an identity, but here's what's missing. And I want to be able to empower myself and others who have different intersectionalities that I may not even be a part of. And then building that empathy and connection. So understanding that intersectionality requires us to dig deeper and to not assume that everyone who looks like us has the same exact experience as us. But as a result, it also means that we get to explore and celebrate and acknowledge the different facets of our multifacets of our identities as Black women and the layers of intersectionality. And so when it comes to empathy, connection, and then another one, really resilience, this is about embracing every aspect of your identity by acknowledging that there are challenges you may face due to those intersections, but also highlighting that there are strengths that come from navigating and overcoming those challenges within that intersection, and being able to accept and not compare, but identify that there are others who may have layers of identity that you may never have to navigate. And so when we think about advocating for social change, I talked about really kind of who are you bringing to the table as a Black woman who might have 3 intersex, but we need 4, we need 5, we need 6, so that all of us are represented in a way that the voices are heard, but also there's shared acknowledgement that our experiences are similar, but also that there's oppression that some of us may never have to navigate. I always like to end on some form of holistic kind of a thinking around our health and our hearts. And so when it comes to empathy and connection, when it comes to empowerment, empowering is about identifying, accepting, but also supporting others who may have layers of experiences you don't have to navigate and or haven't had to navigate. So really embracing that intersectionality, and understanding that it's a journey that sometimes it takes self-discovery, acceptance, and empowerment to be able to even truly know the layers to your identity and accept them in a way that is about loving you and loving the communities that you are a part of. And then encouraging for us to stay positive and not navigate the complexities of these intersectionalities as a negative thing, but a positive, that the more that we celebrate and acknowledge, we also get to foster positive change in our society that also shows up as community and collective love, right? And so I want to end us there. And next week, we will talk about overcoming stereotypes or discrimination and all the other things that we might navigate, and how it will help our self-esteem when we do so. I hope everyone takes good care of themselves. Again, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, like, comment, and ask questions. And if I can, I will answer. All right, y'all, be well.